Oh, sorry. There it is. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everybody and call the Placer County LAFCO Commission meeting of Wednesday, March 12th, 2025 to order. And can you please rise and follow me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Oh yeah, I gotta remember this whole mic thing. Can I please have a roll call?
All right, Vice Chair Alpine.
Here.
Commissioner Eklund? Here. Commissioner Landon?
Here.
Commissioner Lohman?
Here.
Commissioner Rohan?
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Bass?
Here.
Alternate Commissioner DiMattei? Oh, he was here. Alternate Commissioner Friedman?
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Spriggs? Absent. Alternate Commissioner Youngblood?
Here.
Chair Gustafson?
Here.
And Chair Gustafson is using her good cause exception. Can you briefly describe what the good cause is?
A very heavy winter storm predicted for this evening.
And is there anyone over the age of 18 present in the same room with you?
Just me.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Amy. That brings us to item 3, changes in the approval of the agenda.
Hi, Chair. No changes from staff.
Okay, can I get approval of the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Opposed, abstained? All right, motion carries. Moving on to item 4, public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to address the commission on any subject matter within its jurisdiction that is not included in today's agenda. Please submit a speaker card before the first speaker is called and limit your comments to 3 minutes. What we'll do is I'll first ask anybody in the room here for public comment, and then I'll move on to the people that are online, and then we'll move on from the item. So with that, I'd like to open up public comment to the people that are here in the boardroom. Seeing none, I'm going to ask those that are joining us online if anybody from the public like to speak to, under public comment. Please raise your hand. Seeing none, we're going to close public comment and move on to item 5, the consent calendar. Is there any questions from any of the commission for any item on the consent calendar? Seeing none, I'm going to ask the public at this time, is anybody from the public in the chamber that's with us in the chambers here would like to speak to any item on the consent calendar? Seeing none, I will now ask those that are online. Anybody that's joining us online, would you like to speak to any item on the consent calendar? Seeing, hearing none, I'll bring it back to the commission for our action for approval.
Move to approve the consent calendar.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Oppose, abstain? Seeing none, the motion carries unanimously. This brings us on to item 6, business items. LAFCO Project number 2405, South Placer Fire District, extension of powers to provide ambulance service within part of boundaries. Michelle.
Thank you, Chair. I won't go over the entire staff report, but I just wanted to report to the commission that we did not receive any protests at the protest hearing that was held at the Loomis Train Depot, which is located in the subject agency's jurisdictional boundary. We held that on February 21st and had members of the public online and in person. We did receive one public comment, but it was in support of the proposal, and we did not receive any protests. So the action before you today is just to open it up for any other public comments, and also consider staff recommendation, which is to confirm the results of the protest hearing outcome.
Okay, thank you, Executive Officer McIntyre. I'll bring it back for the commission. Is there any questions on the staff report?
No.
Seeing none, I'm going to now open up for public comment to the item, this item number 6. I'll first use the speaker cards here. We'll have public comment on this item in the chambers, and then we'll ask those online, and then we'll go from there. So I did receive 3 speaker cards. Sorry. John Pullen, can you please come up? And then Derek Cole, and after that, Tracy Randall.
Good afternoon. Hello, Commissioners. My name is John Pullen. I'm the Regional Executive Director of the Sierra Sacramento Valley Emergency Medical Services Agency, the local EMS agency that's been serving Placer County since 1975. I wanted to state for the record that our agency remains opposed to the adoption of the resolution related to this matter. Our opposition should not be interpreted as a negative view of the South Placer Fire Protection District. In fact, I was born and raised in Granite Bay. My first public safety experience was as a volunteer firefighter and EMT for the South Placer Fire District, which I worked for 2 years and gained valuable experience that launched my EMS career. The February 21st LAFCO protest hearing staff report stated that upon effective date of the proposed change of organization, the South Placer Fire District's power to provide ambulance services will be activated to include Division 1 within the district's jurisdictional boundaries. The staff report further stated that the action by LAFCO would not by itself authorize South Placer Fire Protection District to provide ambulance services within District 1 under the Emergency Medical Services System and the Pre-Hospital Emergency Medical Care Personnel Act governing local emergency medical services. As stated during your December meeting, and as recently confirmed by the California EMS Authority, who must approve all ground ambulance operating areas, there is no legal mechanism under current statutes for our agency to authorize South Placer Fire Protection District to provide ambulance services within District 1 of their district boundaries, regardless of any action taken by LAFCO. By adopting this resolution, you're placing another local government special district that has been serving the residents of Placer County for the past 50 years in an untenable situation. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Next speaker, Derek Cole.
Thank you, Chair, members of the Commission. My name is Derek Cole. I appear today for American Medical Response, which is the contract provider that is currently serving the area where Loomis Fire is would be authorized by LAFCO to provide ambulance service. I just want to state our position. We are neutral. The reason we are neutral is because we've received a transcript of the December hearing, and we believe this commission has recognized rightly that you do not have authority beyond simply activating a power. The analogy I would use is this. You can plug in a lamp, and if you plug in the lamp, you have an electric current, but the only way the lamp can shine is if you turn it on. And so I think what this commission is doing really is nothing more than plugging in the metaphorical or figurative right to provide ambulance service. But I think what we understand is this commission recognizes that only the EMS agency, as Mr. Pullen just spoke, has the authority to allow fire to actually provide ambulance service. There is something called an exclusive operating area. That is, I sent you all a letter, and I don't want to get up here and bore you with all the legal details. But AMR has the exclusive right to this area, and AMR will continue to have the exclusive right to this area. So I agree with Mr. Pullen that this action really isn't necessary, and it's not going to lead to anything. But I also understand, as a municipal lawyer myself, why you have to do this. And so I just want to say we are neutral. We don't oppose or support this project, but it is our position that this is somewhat of a null act. It's not going to lead to anything because the area that is being served currently by AMR is part of an exclusive operating area. So a few things would have to happen, as I explained in my first presentation back in December, is the county would have to amend the ambulance areas that it created by board resolution in 2003. So the supervisors would have to take that step, make a recommendation to the EMS agency, and then the EMS agency would have to run a competitive process to allow exclusive rights. So I don't think any of those things will ever happen. So our position is that you are doing what you have to do. We respect that, we understand that, and again, as a municipal lawyer who has familiarity with LAFCO rules and procedures, I understand why you're doing what you're doing. So we are neutral. We thank the commission for your work on this, and we just wanted to make sure we stated our position for the final meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Our next speaker, Tracy Randall.
Thank you, LAFCO Chair, Vice Chair, members, Michelle, and staff for your work that you've done on this project. My name is Tracy Randall. I'm the president of the South Placer Fire District Board of Directors. I was elected to my office in 2022. It's no secret that the consolidation that happened nearly a decade ago has been problematic for the district. We appreciate you working with us in the position this district for success, which for us is serving the residents of Loomis and Granite Bay to the best of our abilities, and providing a level of service that the residents deserve. The board, along with Chief Dewar, continue to work to realize operational efficiencies whenever and wherever possible. In fact, you may have heard the district just reopened Station 19 this month with ambulance service. Station 19 is one of the 2 stations that the district unfortunately had to close in 2022 due to financial constraints. While we do not have funding to reopen both stations at this time, Station 19 is now open with just an ambulance service to better serve the community needs. We do believe that this is a step in the right direction and that it helps to serve our community with a better service plan. We look forward to continuing to work with all of you to ensure the residents of Loomis and Granite Bay have the resources and public service that they deserve. Thank you for your time, and thank you for doing this for us.
Thank you, Tracy. That ends all the speaker cards. I will ask if anybody else in the chamber would like to speak to this item. Please approach the podium. Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment in the chamber, and I'll open up public comment for this item 6, to those that are online. Anybody online like to speak? Raise your hand. Seeing none, we're going to close public comment for business item 6 and bring it back to the commission for action.
I'll move approval. Second.
All right. I believe this is a resolution, correct? With that, can I please have a roll call?
Yes. All right. Vice Chair Alpine,
Yes.
Commissioner Eklund,
Yes.
Commissioner Landon,
Yes.
Commissioner Lohman,
Yes.
Commissioner Rohan,
Yes.
Alternate Commissioner Friedman,
Yes.
and Chair Gustafson.
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
All right, thank you. This brings us to item 7. It's going to be a public hearing. This will be for LAFCO Project 2305, Sphere of Influence Update for the City of Roseville. I'd like to, before we open up this item, I'd like to go over the procedure for public hearing. We're first going to receive an oral report from the staff. Then we're going to open up the item for public comment. This is the time we'll do the people in the chamber, then people that are online. This is the time for anybody that'd like to speak to this item to speak, because once the public comment period is closed, it is closed. And then it will come back to the commission for action. So with that, I'm going to open up we're going to start the public hearing and with a staff report from our executive officer, Michelle Mackin.
Thank you, Chair. The slide before you has a cover of the Sphere of Influence Update Study. Now, the study itself is the same as what the commission previously received. It just has a new cover. And before I turn it over to Amanda, who worked on the Sphere of Influence, I wanted to just go back and talk about the milestones for this project. So we began this project in June of 2023, really, and that was to consider the work plan and the budget, and included in that work plan and budget as a high priority item was for a service review and a sphere of influence update for the city of Roseville. On September 13th, a few months later, the commission entered into a contract with AP Triton, who conducted the service review study and the sphere of influence update. On October 15th, about a year later, we received a draft report, which was widely circulated to all the affected and interested agencies. It was posted on our website, and we also emailed the study. Now, it did not go to the commission until a few weeks later, November 6th, at a public hearing, and at that time, the commission received a comprehensive presentation from its consultant on their findings in the service review, as well as recommendations and suggested determinations for the commission to consider. At that point, the commission opened a 45-day comment period. And again, we recirculated the same study. At the January 8th special meeting that the commission held, the commission continued the service review study to February 19th and the sphere of influence update to today's date, March 12th. A service review was adopted with amendments at the February 19th meeting. And finally, we are here today for the continuation of the public hearing for the sphere update. So I'm going to turn it over to Amanda, and she'll walk you through the few changes in the draft.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, commissioners. So as you, Michelle, mentioned, we took the sphere of influence information from the MSR you saw previously, and we put it in its own report. In order to do that, we had to add some introductory information. So that was a little bit changed from what you saw previously. And this kind of lays out all the changes that we did from what you saw. We updated the SOI expansion language to omit portions of the reserve acquisition area in the PCCP like it was requested. And then we added language under determination 1 to describe that change in the SOI recommended expansion area. We updated some of the water supply information, and we had received 2 comment letters about this report prior to the hearing, so those were added to this report. And then after we had put the packets together, we received a request from the county for some additional information to be added to this specific report, which was to add the letter that was already included in the MSR to the SOI as well. So we're happy to do that. And then they also requested that we amend the map to add 2 additional specific plans that weren't originally on the map that you see in the report before you. So that was the Placer Vineyard, I think. Yeah, Placer Vineyards and Riolo Vineyards specific plans. So now that's the only change that happened from the map you're seeing in the report to what that is showing. So the finalized version would have this version with all the specific plans visually shown on it. Yes, so we are recommending that the commission approve this update to the Roseville sphere of influence as recommended. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. So just to make sure it's crystal clear, the sphere of influence boundary itself did not change. It just there were additional exhibits or additional specific plans shown on the map, but the boundary of the sphere did not change from what the city, what you received from the city at your February 19th meeting as part of the correspondence. Oh, yes, I'm so sorry, Chair. Yes, that concludes the staff report.
And now we'll bring it back to the commission. If anybody would like to comment on the report or any questions, clarification, question? Okay. Yes. Oh, Commissioner, I got it.
I put these notes, I think I already asked you this, so I apologize. It was on another piece of paper I did not bring, but can you tell me one more time, and I think it also makes it more sense for the public, the difference between the RAA and the, what was the other one? The reserve acquisition area is not been acquired by PCCP yet, right?
I think since we have the expert in the room, Greg McKenzie, he's the director of PCCP, he may be better able to answer that. But let me find the page. Page 28 of 52 of the packet includes the PCCP reserve system and the proposed Roseville SOI expansion area. And there are some colors. Yellow represents PCCP reserve dash PCC PR 0 acres. And then there's a beige color for the potential future growth, and then the green, the dark green color is the reserve acquisition area. And so the reason why I'm deferring the question to Mr. McKenzie is because we obtained this information, the map, exhibit, et cetera, from Placer County GIS because they have the existing PCCP layers as part of their database. And so they provided the map for us, and that's where all of the designations come from their information. So we can bring,
So the RAA, okay, sorry.
just have him go over what those designations mean.
Okay.
Yeah, good afternoon, evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Greg McKenzie, Executive Director of the Placer Conservation Authority. So yes, looking at the map, the green, which for anybody that's been around for a while, used to be purple, the infamous purple map. That is the reserve acquisition area. So that is the area designated in the plan and the county's general plan that says to the state and federal agencies and everybody locally, hey, this is the area where we plan to acquire lands to conserve and protect and restore that area such that we can then cover the impacts associated with growth and development. Could be everything from, Placer Vineyards to Placer One to Placer Parkway. That area is needed to offset those effects. We work with willing sellers to provide mitigation and conservation in those areas.
Okay.
So that's the green.
Okay, the green RAA has not yet been.
Correct.
Acquired,
So
okay.
anything that's shown on that map as, there's some EXR, that's existing reserve systems, so that's under conservation.
That already has been
Yeah.
done.
There's some yellow on that map, which says PCCPR, I think. That is a property that has been acquired and put into conservation under the conservation program.
Already, okay,
Yeah.
and that one has also been done.
So the lighter yellow in this exhibit and a lot of the cross-hatching that you see under this revised exhibit is the planned future growth area. And so that is the area in the general plan for the county, the city of Lincoln, Placer County Water Agency's water infrastructure, SPARTA, South Placer Regional Transportation Authority's transportation improvements. All of those projects are identified and mostly within that kind of light yellow area saying, hey, state and federal agencies, we plan to have impacts in these areas from growth and development and infrastructure development that will then get mitigated out in that green area. So hopefully.
Now I'm crystal clear. Thank you for
Okay,
the
sure.
refresher. This is my second time. I should have remembered that, but
Quite all right.
Yeah.
It's a big plan, and we're 4 years into 50 years, or 5 years into 50 years, so, yeah.
yeah. I think I was just thinking acquisition area like it was already acquired, and so I just wanted to make sure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
That's it.
Any other questions from the commission? All right, seeing none here, seeing none online, I'm now going to open up this item for public comment. I didn't receive any public speaker cards, so you could start lining up, introduce yourself and start. So,
I went last time, so I'll go first this time. Dominic Casey, City Manager, City of Roseville. But before I start my comments, they're brief. I want to thank the commission. There's a fair amount of discussion that went around with this item, so I appreciate it as we work forward. I think I left a meeting earlier this morning where we talked about the collaboration in Placer County. I think this was a great example of walking through and talking about the impacts of what a sphere of influence could do, and I think we landed in a good spot personally, and I'll share about that in a minute. And I also want to thank staff for their work on this. It was tireless, and I just appreciated the effort and the ability to really work with us to get to a solution. And lastly, I would like to thank Daniel Chatney, our CEO for the county, and Greg McKenzie, who was just up here. They also had several meetings to help work through some of the questions and issues and opportunities that this brings. And so I just really want to thank everybody for their effort on this. And I'm here this evening to tell you that from the city's perspective, we're very supportive of LAFCO's recommendation, and we're here tonight to ask you to approve it. And I'd also be happy to answer any questions from the city's perspective if you have those this evening. So with that, I'd like to thank you.
thank you, Tom.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Kirk Euler. I spent 13 years working on this plan that resulted in that map. And my only wish/regret is that Roseville didn't do this 13 years ago when we were asking them to come and join us. I've enjoyed the past couple months the opportunity to get together with Dom, answer his questions, and do believe that Roseville is committed to the integrity of the plan. Should application be made for annexation, I believe we have their commitment, and I am in support of their request for establishing the sphere. I just wish, frankly, that it included everything south of the Parkway, which is what we originally offered them back in 2012. So if it were up to me, we'd go back to that, and they'd have everything south of the Parkway, and the county could step away from the urbanization and greenfield development business, which, frankly, I never wanted us in the first place. So with that, I appreciate Dom taking the time to meet over the last few months and the assurances that he has made on behalf of the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg McKenzie, again, for the Placer Conservation Authority. So thank you for the questions. Always like to try to help explain and add information into the record for kind of how the program works and what's in and what's out, and what's planned for growth and development and what's not. In this case, I want to thank staff, thank the commission for the proposed amendment, and I hope you carry that recommendation forward for the reserve acquisition area to be excluded. I think this would be a much different conversation if that were still included. That green area represents about 3,400 acres of potential conservation restoration. It is needed for this plan to be successful to cover all the projects, all the growth, all the development, all the infrastructure in the county and the city of Lincoln and Placer County Water Agency and South Placer Transportation Authorities capital improvement budgets and whatnot over the next, 46 years to go. So lots of work to do, but maintaining the integrity of that area was our number one fundamental objective. My job is to implement board policy, and that's why I'm in front of you, much as your job is to implement LAFCO policy. And our policies, interestingly enough, align very well. If you read my letter, I included a LAFCO policy that reads much like a Placer County Conservation Program policy, which, my job is to balance growth and economic development and conservation in Western Placer County and really bring that permitting framework back locally so we don't have to go to the state and federal agencies, everybody from the US EPA to the Corps of Engineers, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Regional Water Quality Control Board, California Department of Fish and Wildlife for everything that we need, whether it's a water line or a sewer line or a road widening or whatever it might be. So with, I want to thank the city with Dom's assurances. We think we're in a better place now. It's not the ideal place, obviously. Ideally, we would have an MOU in place before anything moved forward. But at this point, wanting to see things move forward and with their assurances, I think we can all work together ultimately to carry this forward. Staff did include in the report a recommended condition for the city and the county to work together. Obviously, the PCA and the county are separate entities. The county holds a couple of seats on my board. So I do report to them as I do the City of Lincoln and the Water Agency and the Transportation Agency. So with that, recommend that you carry forward staff's recommendation to remove the reserve acquisition area, and we'll kick the can down the road until an annexation application comes forward, and then I will see you again, or somebody in my place will. So available to answer any more questions you might have.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the boardroom here who would like to come up and speak to this item before we close the public comment section here? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment section for this public hearing in the council chamber, or in the Board of Supervisor chambers, and open it up for public comment online. Those that are joining us via Zoom, this is the time to comment on this item of the public hearing. Please raise your hand. Notify that you would like to speak. Seeing none, we're going to close the public comment section of the public hearing, and we'll bring it back to the commission for action.
I just had a couple comments I was hoping to make, if that's okay.
Please
Okay.
do.
Well, thank you. First, I just want to say thank you so much to Michelle and Amanda and your staff for the great work that you've done. I know that it's been a long process, and I really want to say thanks to Dom and to Greg for working together and having some productive conversations, and same with Daniel as well. My initial thought is that delaying the approval is the best long-term decision. I think given the risks, there are risks to the PCCP, even though they're potential. They're not in stone, and it's quite possible that it will be a moot point. But in the spirit of collaboration and recognizing that Dom and the city have expressed that they very much want to work with the PCA and have conversations around an MOU when it does come time for an annexation. That does significantly impact the way I look at this. But I do really want to make sure, because we're all not going to be here at some point, and you all will likely not be here at some point, and there will be some people who are negotiating at a table. And so hopefully whenever that happens, if we're not here, they will take time to look back at this hearing and any future hearings. And so I just want to state on the record just a few concerns that I do have to be considered in the future. So one of the potential risks is, so this sphere of influence puts about 500 acres to 1,000 acres at risk in the PCCP, which is a potential of $15 million to $30 million of impact, and that would be revenue loss. So that would mean we would either need to raise our fees significantly to cover that loss, or we would have to shrink our reserve area, which we definitely don't want to do, because that would put us at risk with the federal agencies. And that directly would impact and threaten the City of Lincoln's future growth, SPWA, PCWA, because they rely on the program stability. And if the revenue vanishes, I think that's a big concern that I think we just need to be aware of. And I know that Roseville intends on engaging in discussions with the PCA when it comes time for annexation. And like I said, I very, very much appreciate the willingness for conversation. And I do have to say also, on the record, that I really appreciate the efforts to take out the reserve acquisition area, because that was obviously of the biggest concern. I think with all of that, I just want to end by saying I'm fully supportive of Roseville's growth and vision, and I'm very confident that as we move forward with the leadership that comes in both Roseville and the PCA and the county, that those conversations will be productive and fruitful and will end up in a win-win for everyone involved. And so once again, thank you for all of your work on it. And with that, I'm supportive.
Thank you. Is there any other commissioners would like to comment or make a motion? Oh,
Josh, I raised
yes,
my
Cindy.
hand.
Thank you. Cindy.
And again, thanks for chairing today during this event. I appreciate it. I just wanted to agree with Supervisor Landon's comments and concerns, but also kudos to the staff in the city of Roseville for coming together to address this. And you heard our concerns, and I think we made great progress. And Dom, I agree with your comments that that's what's so great about Placer County is finding ways to work together to resolve these issues and trust that moving forward, we understand that what's good for a city or what's good for the county can all be worked out if we have those conversations. So I very much appreciate that and am happy to support what we have before us today.
Thank you, Cindy. Any other commissioner? Commissioner Rohan?
I also would like to say how much I appreciate the collaboration that's gone on between parties that had concerns that has allowed us to get to this point. Glad to hear that the county's representatives are interested in this resolution as well and supporting it. And I'm ready to make a motion to move forward with the adoption of LAFCO Resolution number 2503 in the accompanying sphere of influence map. And if that is, do I need to make any additional reference to the required written determinations? They're included in the resolution.
I will make a second.
All right. This is kind of motion second. Is there any other comments before I call the question? Seeing none from the commission, can I please have a roll call vote?
All right. Vice Chair Alpine.
Yes.
Commissioner Eklund.
Yes.
Commissioner Landon.
Yes.
Commissioner Lohman.
Yes.
Commissioner Rohan.
Yes.
Alternate Commissioner Friedman.
Yes.
And Chair Gustafson.
Yes.
Great, motion carries.
All right. Whew. Thank you. And that'll bring us to our next item. Item 8, the Executive Officers Report.
Thank you, Chair. Just very briefly, because we went over the same items at our last meeting, for April, we will have a very full agenda. We will have our proposed annual work plan and the budget for the commission to consider. Again, that's the proposed, so there will be a final hearing, which the commission will consider in June. And then we will have the final service review for the City of Rockland, the South Placer Municipal Utility District, as well as 4 of the 5 fire protection districts. I'm going to read from the list so I don't mix them up. But for the fire districts, it will be Newcastle, Penryn, Placer Hills, and South Placer Fire Protection Districts. For the departments, it'll be the cities of Lincoln, Rockland, and Roseville. So that's those are the agencies and the departments that the commission will consider a final service review. That leaves the other agencies, CSA 28, Colfax, Auburn, Alta Fire Protection District, Forest Hill Fire Protection District in draft form, which we will then have to continue to work with those agencies to develop a more comprehensive and more accurate review. I think with those agencies, there's various circumstances, but we will be back for a final at a later date. So with those 3 service review studies, plus the budget and the work plan, we will have a very long meeting. I apologize in advance. And then tomorrow, we are having a personnel committee, which the agenda is posted online. We'll have the staff reports posted tomorrow morning. We were waiting on a couple of items that were not critical, but we do have all of the job descriptions from all the LAFCOs that we consider our benchmark LAFCOs, as well as the research project that Amanda had started in the fall and updated at the February meeting. And then we do have a list of all of the LAFCOs, and in one place you'll see at the very end that shows the LAFCOs and what their current positions are. So hopefully it gives you a better idea of how our benchmark LAFCOs are staffing their agencies. So that will be tomorrow morning, and if you have any questions, please let me know, but I look forward to seeing you all, the personnel committee there.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll ask the commission, is there any questions on the executive report? Comments, any questions or commission? Okay, Cindy.
I had a quick question. Michelle, on the fire district MSR and leaving out county fire and Alta, and I'm sorry, what was the other?
Colfax, because they have a contract with county fire.
Right.
And also
Right.
Forest Hill Fire.
Right. And so I want to make sure, because when I read the MSR before, there were recommendations on potential options on consolidations. Do those remain in the MSR, or have those been eliminated?
The recommendations specific to those agencies that are being pushed a little bit. So we're pushing that off until we have more time to develop a more accurate and comprehensive service review. Those recommendations specific to those agencies will go along with those service reviews, with those final service reviews. I believe there were options for that the consultant identified for consolidation of multiple agencies, for example, that tend to be in every single LAFCO service reviews. Just so that we don't have a proliferation of agencies, et cetera. Those will remain. They're more generic options, but specific recommendations that are specific to, let's say, Alta Fire Protection District, Colfax, the Placer County Fire Department, those will come back with the full service reviews.
Well, I understand that, but the other options for the other districts are going to move forward ahead of us having a comprehensive look. At the beginning of this, that was the intent, is that we have a comprehensive look at all the fire services on the West Slope, and then those options would look at a variety of options for all of those districts. And by bifurcating, when I called you last week, we talked a bit about the bifurcation puts us getting different information at different times on those options. And so I just want to make sure we're thinking through the implications of that and how long that timeline will take.
Yes, so one consideration that the commission could make as we consider these service reviews, and it's on every staff recommendation as an option, is that you continue the item. So that's another possible option.
I'm not sure, we want to do that. I just want to understand the implications, right?
Right.
If we adopt an MSR that only has partial options for some of the districts and not for a more comprehensive look, it kind of defeats what we've spent 3 years or two years with the consultants working on. And I know that it's been a challenging process for you to manage these consultants and get all the information on the table at one time. But I think that's only fair. I think we want to be able to support these others in their ability to serve and take that comprehensive look for all of our tax and ratepayers. So I just wanted to put that on the record. I don't know, I'll spend some more time with Michelle and make sure that we look through this before the April 9th meeting, but I just wanted to express that concern.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Any other commissioner, any other questions, comments? All right, that will conclude the executive report, and that will move us to correspondence. Executive Director McIntyre, is there anything you'd like to add to the item?
Yes, thank you, Chair. We did receive copies of correspondences from the Newcastle Placer Hills Fire Protection District, as well as the Placer County. Their agencies are going through the Revenue and Taxation Code 99 process, the tax sharing agreement. And so they're in the middle of negotiations, and so we're receiving information as they go through that process. So this is just informational for the commission. There's no action at this time.
Great, thank you. I will, unless there's some comments from the commission. I don't see any. That's awesome. Moving on to, I don't mean to re-rush it. Moving on to commissioner comments, number 10. Anyone from the commission like to speak? No? Dave? No? All right. Moving right along. And I'll ask those that are commissioners that are online with us, is there any comments that you'd like to make today's evening? All right, seeing none, hearing none. That brings us on to the favorite part of the item, agenda, number 11, adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, stay dry, be safe. It's a storm out there the next couple days. Don't rush. Thank you for coming tonight, and talk to you soon.